All right, we're continuing our interview with Mike DiFranza here, talking about Captivate Networks. Just, Mike, quickly, a brief overview of the network.
Okay, so Captivate Network, as many people know, it's basically the TV screens that you see in the elevators of high-rise office buildings. And Captivate's been around for about 13 years. It's been building the business. It was acquired by Gannett in 2004. Today, roughly has about 10,000 screens across both the U.S. and the Canadian marketplace.
Now, in this network, it's very useful because in an audience, you've got a captive, in an elevator, you've got a captive audience. What type of content do you leverage in order to get the eyes onto the screens?
That's a great question. I mean, one of the things that we try to do is we have a live editorial staff both in the U.S. and Canada. And one of the things that they do is they look through the content from our 100 different content partners and try to design the programming to be relevant to our viewers as they go through their day, their week, the month. So I'll give an example of that. On Monday morning, you don't want to see a traffic report because you just drove through it. But on Monday evening, as you're leaving the office, you would. Right, so it's relevant information. We provide information about flight delays because our viewers have a tendency to be very, very heavy travelers, and so we try to provide them information that's high utility value to them so that they can make decisions. Toward the weekend, we start to provide more information about what's going on in their community during the weekend, ski reports, things of that nature. So we really do try to program the network to really coincide with where the viewer is in any given time.
That's great. And now, living in New York myself, I'm accustomed to a couple of the high-rise buildings, and obviously I've seen some of the screens. You also use audio. Could you talk a little about
Actually, we don't.
You don't?
We don't.
Oh, okay.
We don't. In fact, we made a purpose, when we designed Captivate from day one, we were very conscious about that consumer interaction. Okay. And our belief was that the consumer should have the opportunity to opt in. And what's interesting is, based on the Nielsen research, 90% of the viewers opt in and engage with those screens, which says that we're providing useful and valuable information to them, and we're not just spamming them. Right? Because in a closed elevator environment, it's a somewhat of a dysfunctional environment to begin with. If you start taking choices away from the consumers, you stand the chance of running into a serious backlash.
Sure, and that makes a lot of sense, and I must have been confusing it with a different network. But one other thing about Captivate and the network behind it, Mike, 13 years is a long time to be in the business. So from that perspective, have you been a part of the company for that entire time?
I, in fact, founded the company, okay. And Captivate was born as a function of an elevator ride I was once on a while back, and Captivate has constantly evolved the network. I mean, we constantly upgrade our infrastructure. We're in the middle of a network upgrade as we speak, and so we replace the older technology with newer technology. We're constantly upgrading the systems and software and introducing new capabilities. And in fact, we just recently introduced some new programming features that have full screen content. And what's interesting about that is we actually have viewer-created content that is showing up on the screen. And the example of that is we actually ask our viewers, since they're big travelers, to provide us with their travel photos, that we put up on our screen. And you'd be amazed at the quality and the beauty and the talent of many of our viewers that they provide our content. We've been overwhelmed with the amount of viewer-submitted content that we're now displaying on our screens, and you can see that everywhere.
That's a great example, and that's something people love to contribute to as well. They feel like they're a part of the network. So, Mike, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It would be great.